Brittany Griner is just one of at least 123 U.S. nationals who have been wrongfully detained by other nations over the last decade, according to the James W. Foley Legacy Foundation. During that time, an average of 11 U.S. nationals were wrongfully detained each year. That's a 175% increase from the previous decade. This year, 19 countries have either wrongfully detained or continued to hold U.S. nationals in captivity. 5 countries, Iran, China, Venezuela, Syria, and Russia, are behind over 75% of those cases. Russia has increased the number of Americans it wrongfully detained over the last 5 years. The Foley Foundation tracked at least one U.S. national held by Russia every year since 2017. And since 2001, Iran alone has been responsible for at least 1 out of every 5 wrongful detentions of Americans every year since 2007. There have been at least 4 Americans detained or held inside that nation. Emad Shargi is one of those Americans being held. He has been detained there since 2018. At one point, Shargi was released on bail and cleared of charges. But Iranian authorities refused to give back his American passport, and he remained in Iran. Then, in November 2020, he was sentenced without trial to 10 years in prison. Shargi is being held at Tehran's Evin prison, the same place where a fire in October killed at least 8 inmates. Joining me now is his sister, Neda Shargi. Neda, what in the end led to your brother's detainment in Iran?
Thanks for having me on tonight. That's a good question. We don't know. We just know that there was this odd, letting him out, clearing him. In hindsight, we now understand that he was on a travel ban. And then he was, just as suddenly as he was taken the first time and released, he was taken again.
And what's the last you have heard either from him or about the situation as it stands right now?
Well, we're fortunate enough. Emad is now able to call us quite frequently. If the internet is working there, he's able to get through to us. As you may know, he was recently in the fire. He was in the middle of sort of where the fire was when it broke out in Evin. So they have moved him, and now he's able to call. And, my brother is surviving. He's not doing great. There's nothing he can do, really. He can just survive, and he's waiting for us to get him out of that hellhole.
And how does that feel in these conversations? What is it like to be on the phone, and what can you do from your end?
So the first thing we have to do is give him hope and let him know that he hasn't been forgotten, which is why sort of what happened these last few days with his name not being recognized and his case not being known was really devastating. I mean, it was devastating for us as his family, but even more so for him. The biggest worry for a hostage is being forgotten. And we just have to let him know that he needs to survive and take care of himself and leave all the hard work for us. And our hard work is convincing our president to bring him home. Our hard work is letting the world know that he is an innocent American who has been taken because he's an American. And as a result, America needs to bring him home. That's the right thing to do.
Your brother's daughter talked to our Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation and criticized the White House press secretary. Let's listen to what she had to say.
She did not know my father's name. She was not familiar with the case and deferred us to the State Department once again. She was asked the same question in June and also said that she was not familiar with his name or the case. And I just don't understand how I should have faith that my dad's going to be home if the White House doesn't even know his name.
Neda, has there been any reaction since that appearance on Sunday from administration officials or State Department or anything?
Well, as Hannah said, we have been asking for a while now for a meeting with Jake Sullivan and with President Biden. We did find out publicly, I think they announced it on Margaret's show, that Jake Sullivan is planning to meet with us. And again, I think he publicly said it today. Again, we don't need anything publicly declared. We just want to meet with Jake and with President Biden and advocate for Emad and, you know, get him home. So we hope the meeting will happen, and we hope that this is a sign that, that there is a priority and that we will be able to sit with President Biden as well, because ultimately this decision will fall on the president's shoulders.
All right, Neda Shargi, thank you so much for being with us and talking about your brother's case.
Thank you for having me.